Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for such a lovely introduction, Callum. So forgive me because I'm going to repeat just a little bit, just for anyone that's popping in at the moment. So my name is Rachel Eager, and today I'm going to talk about the importance of blogging during your PhD. So I'll start off by talking a little bit about me, where I'm coming from, and my blogging experiences. So then I'll talk about reasons why you yourself should blog during the PhD process. And then I'll move on to where you can blog and what you can blog about before giving you some tips for blogging. So, first off, here's a little bit about me. I'm a PhD candidate in comparative literature in the School of Modern Languages, and I'm also the outgoing PGR intern for researcher development. So you've probably already seen me on the socials, talking about your events, on Twitter, Instagram, and maybe you've even had emails from me, or maybe you've been on the PGR walks. And if you haven't, then I look forward to seeing you. Absolutely, it'll be fantastic. And in terms of my blogging capacity, I edit, publish, and write for the U of G PGR blog. For anyone that doesn't know, it's ufgpgrs .com, and I'll pop a wee link in the chat at the end for that. And we discuss everything related to PGR life. So this could be attending conferences, how to manage your time, or finances, or even day trips from Glasgow and where to go for lunch. It really works in the form of an archive and is a huge wealth of knowledge. And another wonderful aspect of being a PGR intern this year is being able to contribute to the auditorium blog which is edited by Kay Guccione, who's also in researcher in development. And again, I'll pop a wee link in the chat after. So I also, as if this is not enough blogging for me, I blog about my own PhD. Haven't quite gotten into this one yet. So when the new intern takes editorship of the UG PGR blog, I'll move over to my own and I can blog about my research there. So I'm also a GTA, so I've actually made a blog with what I'd deem useful resources for my students, like how to reference, general top tips, essay writing tips, that type of thing. And again, I'll pop a link in the chat. So what's more, I'm a freelance writer. I blog about a whole bunch of somewhat random topics, and then it ends up out there in the world, a bit like on BuzzFeed. So if you read a BuzzFeed article, I don't know how trustworthy it is because it's me writing it, but you'll recognize that it's me maybe. So why should you blog during your PhD? I can hear you through the screen. Isn't that just giving you more work? I'm going to say why it's really worth your while, even if it does seem like a bit extra work. So it keeps up your writing skills. So it might seem like extra work, but blogging is fun and informal way to express your ideas. So producing words on a regular basis keeps up your skills. It uses general structures, punctuation, it keeps your language skills up. And also just the writing process during the PhD is super important. So practicing and engaging your writing like this just really improves your practice and it will help you in the thesis in the long run. It's also just a really nice way to develop a strong, informal, and conversational style and tone. It's just a really good way to work on it. And you can obviously use this by transferring it to presentations and just moving it across. So, speaking of which, it's an excellent way to spread your research. So, using this conversational voice and tone, blogging is a really good way to spread your research. So, realistically, only your supervisors and reader will probably read your thesis cover to cover. So, it's super important that you get your research out there and engage an audience. So blogging is one way to do this. It's bite-sized chunks of information which are digestible, easy to understand, and most importantly, easy to get across to your audience. So another reason why you should start blogging is that it's good for your CV. So when we look ahead to beyond the PhD, which might seem a bit scary at the moment, it's great to have things on your CV for you to talk about. Going back to easily digestible pieces, having a blog or a few published articles online for your future employer to have a look at means they can understand your research and what you do or have done previously, quickly and easily. And if nothing else, it'll give you a great talking point for the interview, and you can give them links and show them examples. There's endless opportunities here. So let's take discipline and productivity at the same time here, because it shows that not everyone, sorry, it shows not everyone else, but also yourself, that you have a level of discipline and stubbornness and determination that you can bash out, 600 to 1,000 words every week, every fortnight, a regular basis. In a PhD, which we've mentioned already, sometimes it just feels like you're trekking through mud and maybe you don't feel like you're getting anywhere. Going back to the keynote, Jo Ferry's mentioned that she knits so she sees progress. Another way you can do this, you can still take up the knitting, but you could bring up a blog on board as well. It's because it will make you feel like you're onto a winner. Even if you're a bit stuck, you've produced something that week or in that fortnight, and it's an easy win. It's a big tick off your list. And the more writing you do, the more naturally it will become. And let's take networking and building a profile together as well. So, finally, blogging's a great way to network and build a profile. You can advertise your blog pieces across social media, and you tend to find that people might reach out to you to discuss a post or a point you've made. So, one example of this is a tweet I saw asking for materials to help undergraduate students get to grips with reading articles. And now I have discovered this issue myself when I was teaching. So I have a blog post on this to give them a bit of extra support. So I always hand this out to them. And I just simply forwarded this across to a colleague on Twitter. And now we're great colleagues. I'd even go as far as to say maybe we're friends. And it's all from sharing a material off of my blog that it wasn't any extra work for me because I already had done it. And all I was doing was sharing it. And I'm really fortunate because now this colleague throws opportunities my way really quite often. So it's just super lovely. So let's move on to practicalities. Where can you blog? So I can feel it. You're sold on the blogging idea. I am too. So now you're looking for a platform. The most obvious answer is to make your own, using WordPress, Squarespace. There's so many out there. I won't go into detail because you can simply Google it and there's videos, there's TikToks, there's blogs on blogging. You can have a nosy. But this could be lot of hard work getting it the way you like it. And maybe you just want to be part of a larger community and share your voice on that. So I remember Rachel Miller already mentioned the Historical Perspectives blog. So you can blog on there. The one I have right here is our U of G PGR blog. Again, I'll put the link in the chat. And this one in particular, our PGR blog, is quite literally for you PGRs. So you can check the guidelines and that will help you write a piece. And you can write on anything. You could talk about your experience today, how much you've loved this PhD Life 2023, or what you've taken away from it. What you thought maybe about induction week. You could discuss your favourite coffee shops to go to. The list is really endless. And the editor, currently me, will help you and I'll support you the whole way through the process. Another option is the auditorium, which I already mentioned. And this is another community-based blog, but this time it's aimed at those in academia and professional services. So these blogs tend to be of a higher register and involve more reflective pieces on practice. But you can take a look and see what you like about it. And again, I'll pop the link in the chat. So what can you blog about? So this really depends on the platform and the topic. So for example, the U of G PGR blog is so flexible as long as it's related to the PGR experience overall. But you wouldn't specifically blog about your own research since this doesn't align with the aims of the blog. So if you have your own blog, obviously you can write about your own research, you can write all about what you want to write about. It's just really important to link your content to the platform you want to post on. So finally, some tips for blogging, some really practical tips here. So the first thing you need to do is just check for the guidance if you want to write a guest post on a blog. So these are just simple logistics like, do you need a photo? Should it be copyright free? And if so, they usually offer examples of websites you can go to. Do you need a bio at the end, a little sentence about yourself? Are there any specific details they need or want? Keep it short and keep it snappy. Nobody wants long, winding chunks simply because it's online. When people read a blog, they want to be able to scroll. and they want it in digestible chunks. So keep paragraphs concise and be sure to use lots of headings. And it's totally okay for a paragraph to be 3 sentences long, and it's actually super common. And if you're putting links in, that's really good, and it'll bring you to another website. So just make sure that you don't put this in just like the first sentence or the intro, because you want your reader to be invested enough that they read the blog before they move away from the page. And finally, these last two come together. Think about the structure and think about what you want to say. What is your point? So this is my quick example to finish us off, an example of a structure. So my first heading, my title would be like, Why Rachel Loves Blogging, with a short intro paragraph. Heading 2, platforms to blog on. This sounds familiar, doesn't it? This could be maybe a bullet point list or a paragraph. Then another heading 2, maybe tips for blogging, topics for blogging. Again, a bullet point list, paragraph, another heading, tips for blogging, and again, another bullet point list or a paragraph. It's up to you. And then a conclusion with heading 2. So this is just a general structure that keeps in bite-sized chunks, easy to follow, and very much scrollable. So thank you so much for listening. I hope you all feel inspired to undertake some blogging yourself with some practical tips on how to handle it. And what I'll do is I'll just pop these links all in the chat. Thank you so much.